One friend had gone off. He'd just got in a funny mood that night, and so he decided to leave, and he said he was going to hitch back. And then finding out that the three of us who went into that circle ended up with sickness and diarrhoea for a couple of days, and the friend who'd left to go back never had sickness and diarrhoea, which I found very strange. You know, it couldn't be put down to any other cause, but us going into that same circle together so early, just after it had formed. Yeah, because it happened sort of, I went back the next day, left my friend's house feeling very tired, even though we'd had sleep. And my friend's mother didn't want me to drive home to where I lived a few villages away. She said I was welcome to stay over because I didn't look too well. I just wanted to make the journey home, so I went home and I went to bed early. And it was only sort of, you know, the next day that I sort of felt a bit more energised again. And sort of upon getting up and having a shower and freshening up for the morning, I found a triangular mark on my arm which I couldn't explain, and which, you know, took a photo of, and luckily for me I did, because it disappeared not more than 10 minutes later. And also just to find that my watch had lost about half an hour of time at the same time as well, which to me just seemed very strange, especially from feeling so sort of low to suddenly feeling sort of so awake and so alive again. Sort of UBI spawned from my mind. I just woke up one day and it was just like it was in my head, UBI. And it very much meant United Believers of Intelligence. From sort of UFO sightings and stuff, it really came about that I had an open mind, and my mind had opened up enough, and I'd seen things that no longer could I just put down to being classic ice crystals in the sky reflecting light and things like that. So UBI spawned from that. But UBI wasn't really about just two individuals. It was about people coming together and sharing the experience and look at different sort of sides of it, not just the Cropcircles, but spirituality, sort of ghosts, a lot of sort of beliefs that people have in sort of the spiritual world and in the world of the paranormal. And it came from there, really. I would say yes, it angers me that some people make money from the subject and Cropcircles itself, because there was a lot of people at the time out there, and if it wasn't money, it was kind of fame, or trying to grab their slice of something, which was like deemed quite magical at the time. And I felt everyone just wanted to be recognised as some sort of authority, whereas we went around not sort of trying to be recognised, but trying to look at the whole thing openly and generally. And we could see these other people just sort of jumping on the bandwagon and trying to make a name for themselves, and of course making money from sort of Cropcircle conferences, etc. You know, I just felt it was disgusting. But we went to one Cropcircle conference down in Glastonbury, and we had a lot of information and a lot to give to people there to talk about openly in sort of debate. And it was purely on the basis that we didn't have the money, that we couldn't really go in to do that. And I felt sort of a bit disgusted that that's what it had come down to, was money and such sort of extortionate prices just to go into a debate. And it just so happened that we'd met a couple of nice people out there sort of looking at the circles, and they felt that we had something better to give into the debate about the actual subject, and money to them was no object. They did have a lot of money, but they said what was more important was the actual subject itself, and they turned round and paid for myself and another member of the UBI to go in and, you know, get our point of view across. So I was quite happy to do that, but I just found that it was very sort of based around tourism and just trying to make a bit of money along the way. And my approach has always been, but this is something that I sort of felt was important and had more substance than just people making them as well. And I didn't think it was right that people should be able to jump on the bandwagon so easy. I wouldn't say that some circle making was trying to pull the wool over people's eyes, but I have seen people who've tried to do that, purely sort of on the basis of TV and the way that sometimes they wanted to make a mockery of the subject. Because you've got a subject that was, at the time, becoming very powerful, very in the public mind, and very open. And you could see, in some ways, the authorities trying to push that back, because it's a very powerful thing, having too many people with open minds out there. Because the state we live in the world, where they do like to have control, even though we like to think we control our lives, they do have control over us. And I think something as powerful and quite moving and supernatural and unexplained was sort of jumped on by certain agencies to try and sort of calm public attention by using some Cropcircle makers and trying to use the people that thought it was genuine and trying to stitch people up at the same time. So I'd say some of them did it for that reason, but also they probably were paid for that. But generally, I wouldn't say that everyone was out there just to pull the wool over everyone's eyes. I do know of one group that did have a weird experience. They were going out just to do it purely for those reasons. With the actual circle making, those teams were actually going out to sort of go about it in the wrong way. And their experience, I remember, was quite frightening for one person, because as he was going round the crop and flattening it, he felt, like I said, that something was watching him, and it took quite a bit to get this out of this person, but he felt that something was watching him. And as he started going round and getting a little bit more nervous, and this was people that wouldn't usually be nervous, they'd gone and made circles before. So, you know, they had no reason to be frightened in a field. They weren't doing it all on their own. There was a group of them.
Now, I went out and made some circles, quite simple affairs in the first instances, and the researchers deemed these circles to be genuinely paranormal. And what was interesting to me is that some people experienced weird paranormal effects in the circle that I'd created. Now, if you're asking me, you know, why I created circles, I suppose initially to test the researchers, but because of my finding that people were having paranormal experiences in the circles we had created, it obviously opened up a completely new avenue of why I would want to make circles. Why I think the lines actually get blurred, and maybe these researchers could have quite reasonably believed my circle to be paranormal, is because many witnesses, many people who actually went into the formations actually experienced paranormal events, and these were not just researchers. So my testing to find out whether researchers could tell the difference actually produced a whole different response than I expected. And of course, when you realise that you can create something and people are going to have that sort of a response in the circles, I think it opens up a question in your mind as to how far you can go and just how far the experiences that people have will go in these circles. So I wanted to push the bounds of what I was creating, and also to see the reactions of people that went in after.